Update. Mounjaro has stopped working for me. The food noise is back. This video is going to deep dive into how I know that Mounjaro has stopped working for me at the moment. And more importantly, we're going to cover what I'm going to do to get back on track. Choo choo! Let's go. Hello, fabulous Mounjaro munchers. For anybody that doesn't know me, my name's Lauren. I have now been on a weight loss journey for just over a year. And in that time have managed to lose 4 stone by myself, and then in March of this year decided to start my fabulous Mounjaro journey and have lost an additional 2.5 stone, which brings me to the gorgeous total of losing just over 90 pounds in this year, which I'm very much proud of. Thank you very much. I also worked out today. It means I've dropped about 4 to 5 dress sizes. I was starting at about a size 24, 26 and weighed 19.5 stone, and now weigh 12 stone 12 and have a comfortable size 16, which I never thought I'd be. But yes, I can officially say the Mounjaro dose that I'm currently on has stopped. I've given it a good old whirl. Now, for those of you that might have seen some of my other videos about why I even started Mounjaro, considering I was losing that weight before by myself, she's going solo. There's a little video about why I actually decided to do this, so have a little peek at that. But during this 4 months of being on the old MEJ, I have stayed on the lowest dose of 2.5. Now, again, I will caveat that everyone does this differently. So some people may well be able to stay on 2.5 for a very long time, and some people might have to go up quite quickly, month by month. No judgment here, no judgment over her. But it just so happens that I kept low for quite a long time and managed to make sure I exhausted those doses. And again, I've got another video about when to increase your dose, of which I'm taking the advice from this week, I think. So let's have a little talk about the things that I've managed to combat to stay on this 2.5 and why I now know it's definitely time for me to potentially increase the dose. Not even potentially. And at the end, I'm going to cover exactly what I need to do to stay on track until I can increase my dose, which again is going to help me in the long run, and I hope help you as well, to keep on track and keep that healthy lifestyle going forever. So, why did I decide to stay on 2.5 when for the last couple of weeks, probably longer, I know it hasn't been working? Well, let me tell y'all. I was going to increase to 5 a couple of weeks back, but a friend of mine decided to get the old MEJ, told a little porky pie about her weight to get it, and then freaked out because then she realised she didn't want to do it because she actually didn't fit the requirements, realised because I made it quite clear the dangers that could actually happen. Is that the piss and roadworks? Shut it up. Anyway, I kind of made her aware of what could happen if she took it and something did go awry. Tits up, as my mother would say. So she then decided to give me that pen. So I had that other 2.5 there and thought, sod it, we'll give it a go. Let's see if it works. Guess what? It hasn't. And for me, the biggest thing has been that food noise has really come back. Now, I've found that the food noise comes back stronger, again, when it's me monthlies. Women, can I hear y'all? When it's my monthlies, it comes back stronger, and sometimes I put it down to that and think it's not to do with the medication, it's because it's my monthly, so keep persevering with the 2.5, but actually, it's just not. I have been raging in the food cupboards. I mean, my other half had a pistachio spread up there in the old cabado in the cupboard. I found it. I don't think he's realised I've found it yet, but when he does realise I've found it, I'm into shit. I should probably order some more. But that's a bad habit of mine. That's an old, poor habit of mine where I would rummage through the cupboards, find the things I like, and then replace it so that said person doesn't realise I've A, consumed it, and B, potentially consumed a little bit more of the second one to make it look like the same one that they had before. And those habits coming back, it's quite scary. I don't know if anyone's experienced the same thing. Please use the comments below to write if you have experienced this. But for me, that's quite a scary thing, having that element of being out of control again. Now, I will admit in my life at the moment, here we go, I've had a bit of uncertainty. I even took myself to a tarot reader, to get some perspective, some grounding. Some of you may be mocking me. Fine, don't care. But I've been a little bit all over the shop. And having that lack of control with regard to my food has added to that massively. It's put me out of routine, put me out of having, the only word I can use, and I've used it several times already in this video, is control. Control. Not having it has thrown me in so many different elements of my life by just not having that control over food. And only now, when I've had the silence, do I realise what the noise sounds like. And it's like the roadworks outside, thank you very much. It's like the roadworks, you know, you don't realise how bloody noisy. They are, until it stops. And you're like, oh, that piece is gorgeous. But you don't appreciate the peace and quiet until starts up again. A gorgeous MJer, Tony, actually said that sentence to me. You don't know the silence until you know the noise. So full kudos to Tony for that one. I think for me as well, a lot of the time, I wouldn't dare eat certain foods. So absolutely, I agree. We should avoid fatty, greasy, starchy and elements of spicy food, as is told to us. But Mama tried testing the water on some of these, and Mama should not have. No. Because I tried at the weekend, I had a little bit of pizza. That pizza was a whole pizza. And I realised actually I didn't feel so bad afterwards. That was not a good revelation for Mama Bear. Because when I realised, oh, actually, you don't feel that bad afterwards, because probably the 2.5 for me is just probably not working anymore, because I've been on it for 4 months and it's just probably worn off. And I say probably a lot because I ain't a medical professional, as I say in every single video. I'm not a medical professional, but it feels like it's very much worn off. But now that I know if I eat a bit of pizza or a little bit of biscuits or this, that and the other, and almost binge like I was before, and I don't have the effects that I was so worried about, like vomiting. That was the biggest one, really. Vomiting and constipation. I don't want that. I don't want it. If that doesn't happen, it's almost like, well, I can push this boundary then, can't I? And that is not a good thing for me. I needed the fear of yakking up or backing up. Yakking up or backing up. I needed that fear. And with that removed, I need the fear. Again, please comment below if you've experienced a similar thing, because for me it feels a bit frustrating with myself to be so reliant on fear of a side effect to not have certain foods, which will in turn actually make me gain weight or whatever more. But I've noticed in this past week, since I've not been eating great, I have felt uncomfy in my tummy, not to the point where I'll have any severe side effects that we all fear, but to the point where I have felt very uncomfy. I've not perhaps done the exercise that I would be doing before because of just a general lethargicness in myself. Very much more headachy because of the bad foods, and I don't like labelling it bad, but I think you all know what I mean. Higher sugar contents, higher starch contents, higher fat content food has just made me feel extremely lethargic. Even now, I've got kind of a constant headache because I imagine the sugars that I've had have suddenly increased a lot. So I haven't been doing all those things that would gear me up for that healthy lifestyle anyway. So even going for walks as regular, definitely not been going for my runs as regular. Just all round feeling positive as well. I think I've forgotten how much eating well doesn't just help me in the body and as a number, but it helps my mind massively, because this past week or so I haven't been fueling the body, therefore fueling the mind, and that has really deteriorated this week. I'm happy to share that with you because I hope that in sharing it, if you were to ever have bad weeks, days, anything like that, I feel like it's good to know sometimes that we're not alone, and these little trip ups, hurdles can be part of it and can be solved, and that's the biggest thing. And again, stay with me, like and subscribe and all that, because I'm going to talk through the steps I'm going to be taking this week before I even increase my dose to make sure I can continue on a healthy lifestyle journey, pushing willpower to the max here, getting the old willpower up the bag. Where are you in here, willpower? Oh, there she is. Come on, you big bastard. I'm hoping some of the tips that I'm going to give at the end will help you out as well. If you're having those bad moments, and I don't like using the word bad, but I'm not also going to filter it out because that's how I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling like it's a bad moment. So I'm wondering if if you're experiencing a similar thing and think that's a bad moment, that was bad food, I hope you can understand what I mean in that vocabulary. You know, when it's all balanced, yes, there isn't such a thing as bad, good, ugly, there isn't. But when it comes to the weeks that I've been having, it was bad. So yes, as I say, stay with me. I've got 3 key tips that I'm going to share that I'm putting into practice this week to help me get through these hurdles. So now I'm just going to cover what I did previously when I was on 2.5 in the early stages, and what I did then when the food noise came back, and what actually worked for me. So before, changing my jab sites worked for me, and I've done that again this time several times and it hasn't worked at all. I also looked at some of the food that I was eating, so I made sure I increased the protein to make sure I was just helping my body feel fuller for longer. And again, I've done that, hasn't worked. And those were the 2 things that I said in my previous video about when to increase your dose. If that doesn't work for me, that is when I'll increase. So next week, what I'll do is I will share with you how being on the 5 milligrams from 2.5 for 4 months has changed and what that might look like. And I am a bit nervous of it. Again, comment below if you've moved to 5. What have your experience has been? Because we love to share. So here I go. I'm going to jump. Get up. Nearly slapped myself in the face there with one of the jubblies. But yes, I'm going to jump over now into the 3 things that I'm going to do and I'm going to implement this week, today, to make sure I can push through to that 5 milligrams, get a bit of control back, not only of the body, but of this mind. So here's tip number 1. This is the first thing I'm going to be implementing, and that is to lean back on the little micro habits that I've been building over this past 4 months. Now, I know I've been on my weight loss journey for over a year, but these past months has been where I've pushed in little micro habits. And what I mean by a micro habit are by these small daily things that keep me on track. So the morning routine is a perfect example of these little micro habits to get me on track for a healthy, successful, in my eyes, day. So one of my first micro habits is I'll get up in the morning and I will fill up me water. Now this is a Miyoki cup given to me by my gorgeous friend, Claire Butler. If you don't already follow her on YouTube, follow her. She's just kicking off and she's already taking the YouTube world by storm. I knew she would. Excuse me. But yes, I fill up my water. I can make sure I'm getting my minimum of 2 litres of water down me, if not 3 litres. And I'll also tell you, when I get a good amount down me in the morning, it helps mama go, helps me flow. So that micro habit makes me feel a little bit healthier in the morning because I've got that water in my body again. We've got everything moving again because that's literally, we've been laying all night. Getting that water in just moves everything about. Anything that's been sat laying on the old tum-tum gets it all moving around. I have a little pace around the house. So it does clear the system. Again, helps for any potential constipation we might be having, and just helps me feel fresh for that day. My other little micro habit that I started doing each day or every other day just to save on a bit of money was getting my kombucha in. Getting the old kombucha in me. Very good for that gut health. So that's another thing that I do. Then after that, I make sure I have my little morning tea and I put my collagen powder in it. Those 3 things in the morning really set me off to think you're doing something good for your body, Lauren. Well done, sister. Then get my ass in the shower. Do my little skincare routine. Again, all stuff to make me feel good about myself, which in turn impacts my choices for food, even if my 2.5 is not doing anything at all. Another micro habit I do is trying to make sure I get myself on a walk every day. Now that might not seem so much of a micro habit, it's quite a bigger habit, but just this morning, a friend messaged to say, do you want to meet up? Do you want to go out for a little walk? And I was feeling sluggish because I've been eating crap. But instead of saying no, I said yes. Okay, let's go for a walk. So not only were my endorphins released by meeting up with a friend, chatting all about their Glastonbury experience, making myself very jealous that I want to go, and having a good walk around our local park, the endorphins were released from that way of connecting with another energy, soul, spirit, shum. But also I checked my little steps in the old car and already I'd done over 10,000 steps without even thinking about it because I was almost engaging in another activity. But what I'm saying here is another habit that I'm going to try and get in is make sure I go for that walk. No matter how far that walk is, doesn't have to be 10,000 steps, can be just around the blocker. But something again to make me feel like I'm investing in that body, which again in turn always helps me make better choices with eating because I think you've already done this for your body, Lauren. Just keep going. And something else, the last thing, and again, not so much a micro habit. I think my micro habits mainly focus on the morning routine of water, collagen, skincare routine, and kombucha. They're the micros. Making plans for yourself. Because I felt very sluggish in my mind lately, which is absolutely related for me to do with the food that I've been having. I've not wanted to make plans. I've not wanted to see people. Been a bit of a moaning myrtle. And that's fine. We're all going to have those moments. We can't always be 100%. We can't always be 80%. We can't always be 50%. And that's fine. But sometimes making that plan, whether it's to meet up with a friend, whether it's to go and deliver you vintage parcels, whether it's to do that food shop, whether it's to go and clean that bathroom, whether it's to take the dog for a walk, whatever it may be, have a little plan in to get yourself outside or get yourself doing something that is going to make you feel good. I nearly cancelled the little tarot reading that I was going to have on Monday because I felt so rubbish in myself. I couldn't find my purse and I was in a Humpty Dumped. I really was. And I even messaged her because I generally lost my purse, messaged the lady and said, I'm going to have to cancel, I'm really sorry. My other half came in, found my purse in the backseat of my car. I didn't check there. And I messaged her again and said, can I come back later? I was so glad that I went because it was just a bit of focus that I needed, something for me. Now, I'm not saying you need to go and have your tarots read, but you see what I'm saying. Also, don't feel bad if actually sometimes you do need a little reset day yourself. Don't let that reset day turn into a reset week like I've done. But this is what all of this channel is about me sharing this honest, raw journey with you. And if it can help one person, then fantabby-dozy. So, like I say, this week I am going to be moving up to the 5mgs, and I'll absolutely be keeping you updated as to how that goes. And I'd love for you to tell me in the comments below what your experiences have been, because it can be really, really isolating when your mental health side of it, that's exactly how I felt this week, when my mental health side of it has gone downhill. And I know it's because of the fuel that I'm putting in my body or not putting in my body. And it's difficult when other people perhaps can't relate, because of course, you can't expect everyone to relate to that. And it's difficult when, for example, my other half might come home and he won't understand what I'm feeling in a slump, and I won't perhaps have the words to articulate that. And having ADHD alongside this also doesn't help. But they almost do go hand in hand, and it's very difficult to pull yourself out of a pit, isn't it? When there's sometimes not a ladder there. But you gotta dig your claws into the mud and pull. Heave-ho! Roll your ass out. Because only we can do it. We can rely on other people to give us words of encouragement. They ain't gonna do it for us. So this is a much shorter video than I've usually done, but just a quick update to let you know how I've been feeling this week, how I've not been on track, but how we're gonna get on track. So I really, really hope that helps you in some way, shape or form. And if it has, and this is the kind of content that you want to listen to, please do give me a subscribe. Please like this video and share it out as well, because I want to be creating a lot more content about how honestly this journey is going, and some tips along the way to support each other, to essentially get the most from this glorious little life we've got. So sending you all lots and lots of love. I'll see you on the other side, munchers.